Get ready for your unofficial dental hygiene podcast. These are the tales of two hygienists, one East Coast RDH and one West Coast hygienist. Listen as they tackle the profession of dental hygiene with humor and enthusiasm. Now, please join Michelle Strange and Andrew Johnston as they tell you a tale of two hygienists.
Welcome, listeners, to episode number 54 of A Tale of Two Hygienists. This is Andrew. I am by myself today. Michelle is on vacation. I hope you guys don't feel too sorry for her. She's down in Cuba right now, having time of her life, I'm sure. Just hopefully she can make it back, as we have plenty more interviews to do in this coming year. I want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that phrase, Merry Christmas, for just a second, if I could. We have listeners from all over the globe, and myself as a Christian, I say Merry Christmas because that's what I feel in my heart is appropriate to say. But we want you guys to know that whatever you believe in and whatever faith and religion you have or lack thereof, we wish that you guys would take this time and spend it with your families and your loved ones and just really enjoy and decompress. We have another year coming up ahead of us. As dental hygienists, you all know it's a tough profession. And so this would be a good time to spend with your families and recharge and really enjoy yourselves. A couple of things that I want to talk about right off the bat. We just got a sample itinerary for the Voices of Dentistry meeting that's coming up in January. So please check that out. It sounds like we are going to be up against the great Lance Timmerman. I think we're going to be on the main stage. So it'll be quite the opportunity for us to be able to see if anyone wants to listen to us talk for a little bit. There is another thing I wanted to talk about that's kind of in the same realm of dental podcasts. Many of you have seen on our Facebook page and have seen in many of the groups that we posted to please vote for your favorite dental podcast. And within one day, I think we caught the leaders. And so if you guys have a moment, please go to dentalpodcast.org. And there is, until the rest of December 2016, in case you're listening to this in the future, the opportunity to vote for us, A Tale of Two Hygienists. And please don't vote for anybody else. That'd be great. If you wanted to write in some of the other dental hygiene podcasts out there, the Momgenists, if you want to go to Carrie's podcast, that if you haven't heard that one before, it is called Healthy Mouth, Healthy Life. It is a fantastic podcast. Carrie is an oral health coach, and she really talks about the oral systemic link. And the cool thing about her podcast is she doesn't speak to just us as hygienists. The podcast is also for what she says is the consumer or the general public. So you go ahead and vote for any one of those ones. Okay, so we have, I think, the same 15 reviews on iTunes that we've had for the last several months. Listeners, I need all of you, every single one of you, to bombard iTunes this week. Go there, find us, rate us, and review us. We're looking to help other hygienists find the podcast, and the only way they can do it is by seeing if we are an active podcast with users who like us. So go ahead and go on there, leave us a quick review. It doesn't have to be anything long. Don't try and flatter us. It's very okay. Just write something that you might have learned or something that you feel about the podcast so that other people can read it, and it'll come up in their search for dental hygiene podcasts higher up on the list. What else do I have for you? I actually have an opportunity that I want to read to everyone. Most of you guys remember the podcast episode that we did at Smiles at Sea with Elijah Desmond. And Elijah is always trying to help out the hygienist. He does a lot of mentoring and coaching of our fellow hygienists. He gives of his time very liberally, and he's just always trying to uplift everyone. He has created a very, very cool concept for a CE conference. First of all, it's in Cancun, so it probably doesn't get better than that. Let me read you this instant message he sent to me talking about this CE conference. It said, calling all dental speakers, Smiles at, quote, CE, get it, kind of like Smiles at Sea, is hosting its first annual Epic Resort Adventure in Cancun for 8CE. It doesn't matter if it is your first time ever speaking or if you're a polished veteran. Smiles at Sea Speaker Showcase will feature between 15 and 20 speakers that will have 15 to 20 minutes to give their best material. We will have meeting planners and scouts there to be the judges to pick the winner. There will only be 3 top places. The top 3 will be selected by the judges and asked to present again on the main stage on the beach with a new 15 to 20 minute presentation. And this time, no PowerPoint. Let me read to you guys what the prizes are for this. The grand prize winner will receive $2,000, flight reimbursement, a cruise with a spot in the speaker's lineup for a Smiles at Sea cruise within 1 year, a first place trophy, exposure to all the meeting planners, a certificate for your cover letter or resume. The second place winner will get flight reimbursement, a cruise with a spot in the speaker's lineup for a Smiles at Sea cruise within 1 year, a second place medal, exposure to the meeting planners, or certificate for your cover letter or resume. Third place gets all of the above, with the exception it's going to be a third place medal instead of a second place medal. All speakers will have their all-inclusive room paid for. The paid days at the resort are July 6th through the 9th, and the courses are going to be held Friday night and Saturday morning. All speakers will be responsible for any other expenses. So again, the dates for this, July 7th through the 9th. You can stay as long or as little as you want. You can come before, you can come after if you want to. However, if you are a speaker that has been accepted for this, then you will only be compensated, or your room will be paid for just the few days that you're there for the conference. The resort is going to be at the Grand Oasis Cancun. The location is going to be the Grand Oasis Arena. And the final challenge for the speakers will be held on the beach stage. So that'll be kind of fun. If you are interested, you need to email 2 one-pagers that should include your title, your course summary, and learning objectives. You also need to have your cover letter /bio, and you need to email them to smile@smilesatsea.com. Smile@smilesatsea.com. If you wanted to go to the website and find out a little bit more, you can actually subscribe to an update list at www.smilesatsea.com/smilesatce-meets-land. Smilesatce-meets land. What else do I have for you? I think I want to talk to you guys about this week that I had also. So a lot of you know that I work quite a bit. I do a lot of different things to, stay busy. I had the opportunity to work about, I think it was 68 hours this week. And one of the things that kind of comes up a lot is, at my home office, people are saying, well, you work all the time. When are you going to slow down? Conversely, on the professional side of things, everyone's always asking me, not when I'm going to slow down, but when am I going to leave private practice? Don't you get burnt out? Aren't you tired of doing the same thing over and over again? It's the same teeth that you see all the time. All these different things. And so I was, just kind of like thinking about this the last few days as I was driving back and forth between the different offices. And, I thought that I wanted to talk to you guys about burnout and how throughout my, kind of short career, I've only been doing this since 2009, but it's not to say that I haven't worked for many years before that. I was in retail for a while before that. I basically had a job since I was 14, and that was a job that was given to me by my brother when he left. I was shoveling out horse stalls, basically. And so I remember going and getting off the bus, going to this person's house who raised miniature horses, and I would shovel out the stalls for like an hour and a half or whatever, a few days a week, and then my dad would come pick me up on his way home from work, and so I'd kind of just hang out until then. And so I'm used to work. I've worked, I'm 33 now, so it's about 20 years or a little bit less than 20 years. And the last 5 years I've done, probably a few thousand hours of overtime. And I think the reason why I'm not burnt out is because, one, I love the profession. I am all about listening to dental podcasts, dental hygiene podcasts. I love mentoring and helping other people. We regularly get emails from either listeners or people who have seen myself on Mark's roundtables, and it's fun just to help people out and answer their questions. And I think that's part of the passion that, or maybe the enjoyment I get from the passion that is dental hygiene. It's fun, yes, seeing patients clinically every day. It's fun seeing, the team that you work with every day, especially if you have really good assistants. And I think that, again, I like to consider myself as one of the luckier people probably on this planet. I fell into a really awesome role on this podcast with Michelle. I fell into some really great jobs. I fell into a relationship with my wife, who is awesome. We just happen to have 3 amazing kids, and we took in this dog who, his name's Finn. I didn't really like him very much at first because he was kind of stupid. And I remember telling Allison one day, I said, I just don't think we're going to be able to keep this dog. And she was in love with him. He would come in and he would just put his head on her lap, and they would just, be lovey-dovey. And so, she was smitten over this dog, and I just wasn't having it. We had this German Shepherd who was, I wouldn't have to say anything. He was just super obedient. And then we get this black lab who was running around the neighborhood, and one of our neighbors had taken him in. They were going to take him to the animal shelter, and said, well, unless you guys want him. And then we ended up taking him in. Anyways, so he wasn't very smart. I would tell him to go to his bed. He wouldn't go to his bed. I'd tell him to sit. He wouldn't sit. He just didn't get it. And we'd had him for several months, and I'm just like, the dog is dumb. I don't think we're going to be able to keep him. But then I think he heard me. I think he knew that I wasn't very happy with him, because from that day, I swear it was from that day on, like, he just got it. He understood what I meant and the commands that I was giving him. He still doesn't sit, but if I tell him to go to his bed, he will. If I tell him to do something, he'll do it. He used to kind of fight me a little bit on different things, but now he's just very submissive and obedient. And we've happened to fallen into a lot of really good things in my life. And one of those actually is dentistry and dental hygiene. I've fallen into an opportunity with the state of Washington, working with the Dental Hygiene Examining Committee. And all of these things that I say, I know it kind of sounds arrogant, kind of sounds boastful, but I want you guys to understand that there are opportunities out there within the profession that's going to stoke your fires. It's going to get you excited about the things that we're doing, and it might not be just clinically. It might not be those things that are your day-to-day things. I was listening to the Dental Hacks podcast, and they were talking, I want to say I think Alan was interviewing his dad, and they were talking about kind of having a bigger picture perspective. And he was saying that a lot of the people that he went to dental school with, this is Alan Mead of the Dental Hacks, he was saying that the people who were married, who had some sort of focus outside of school, seemed to do better because they had a bigger picture view of what was going on, as opposed to those people who were just so focused on school and that was their life and that was the only thing. And so if something goes wrong in their life or at school, I guess, that means there's something going wrong with their life. And that wasn't necessarily true if people could just step back and realize what a small ordeal it really was. And so I guess that's kind of my advice to everyone is when people ask me about getting burnt out, is try and have a bigger picture perspective. Step out of whatever viewpoint that you're in and search outside of it. And in addition to that, look at all of the things that you've been given that I say that I fell into them, but quite honestly, I've worked very hard in my life, and I've done everything that I could do to be in the right position and be in the right, frame of mind for those things to come up. I worked very hard to be, prepare myself to meet the woman of my dreams, who happens to be the person that I was able to marry. I worked very hard at developing skills and attributes and doing my best to instill those into my children, who are very well-behaved children. I have a great partner in that to help me with all of that in Allison. I am very appreciative of the company that I work for right now. They've done a lot to allow me to go and do all these extra things, and I recognize those things. And like many of you, I've worked for doctors that were terrible. I mean, I was several years with a doctor who was, quite honestly, pretty abusive to many of the staff members. And I've, been on that end of the abuse, and I wasn't making enough money, and I was struggling. But it's very important to take a step back and appreciate the things that we've been given and look for more. Always be searching for more. And I think part of that is going to be a search for helping others. If you wanted to work with your local component and they just don't have anything for you to do, step out a little bit, find something that's maybe at the state level, or maybe find something that's at the national level. Find something that you can, some sort of a nonprofit that you can work with, or maybe organize some sort of a sealant day. Or there are a lot of things out there within the profession that you can be doing to get that focus outside of your day-to-day. And I think when you step back a little bit, you'll realize what an awesome opportunity it is to be a hygienist. And I don't think that the burnout will kill you so much. Now, a lot of the burnout from a lot of people is because of the doctors that you work with and the people that you work with. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about that. And I'm not going to advocate anyone to quit. However, going back to another podcast, I was listening to Freakonomics a little while ago, and I would encourage everyone to look up this episode. I think it was called The Upside of Quitting. And there's some controversy behind it, of course. There's always going to be controversy, but it was a really good episode. It's a short episode. I think it's only like 30, 40 minutes, something like that. But it talks about the benefits of quitting the current either profession or the situation that you're in and finding something that's better. There is something better than, if you are feeling burnt out, there is something better out there for you. You just have to trust that. Okay, so let's talk real quick about our interview today. This is an interview with Ben Hilger. Ben is quite the guy. And before we maybe go to this episode, I want to talk to you about one of the biggest problems that we have in dental hygiene. Actually, let me back up. It's not the biggest problem in dental hygiene. It's one of the biggest problems that we have maybe with the ADHA. I hear this all the time. The problem with the ADHA is that you don't feel or you don't see the benefit. And this is something that I know I have a lot of friends who work with the ADHA, and I'm sorry if this steps on your toes. I am a member of ADHA. I support the ADHA. I support the causes, most of them, that we're fighting for. But one of the things I would love to see is legal protection. And that's something that Ben is going to bring to us today in this interview, right? So who here is tired of your doctor saying, you don't have a patient, I want you to clock out, but go sit in the break room in case they come late, or clock out in case your next one comes early and just kind of hang out. Well, we've all read the forums, we've all read the posts online by legal professionals who tell us that that's not okay. You can't do that. But where's our recourse? Who's going to fight for us? There are a lot of legal protections that we wish the ADHA would help us with that they don't do. And I'm sure the ADHA has reasons for this. I know that's been brought up several times. And I've talked to several people from the California Dental Hygienists Association who one of the reasons why they wanted to leave was because of a lack of protection. I don't have the answers. I don't know if that's why, if they even got those protections when they left. But one of the things that I've done for myself is, after talking to our interview today, Ben Hilger, is I actually did sign up. This isn't a sales pitch. This is me taking care of myself and taking care of my family. I got the identity theft. I also got the on-call legal protection. It's a prepaid legal service, basically, is what it is. Ben's going to explain that a little bit better, and I really want you guys to listen to what he has to say. because this is going to bridge that gap, because the ADHA is not going to help you with this. And it's a professional organization. It's not a legal organization. Your best friend their husband is a lawyer or their wife is a lawyer isn't going to help you with this. You need to step up and you need to protect yourself. And this is why Michelle and I thought it was very important that we bring this episode to you. So one, if something is happening, you can get help right away. And two, before it happens to you, because it's going to happen to a lot of us, be prepared for this. All right. Listeners, we love you. We have a good episode coming up next week as well. Please go back to the Facebook page, like us, iTunes, rate and review us, tell your friends. Have a great week, everyone.
Welcome to the interview portion of A Tale of Two Hygienists. We are still on location at Smiles at Sea.
It's been awesome so far.
Fantastic.
Lots of people.
I don't even know what day this is.
It's cruise day. Do you know? Hold on. Did you see outside? Dark. It's almost dark.
Have I missed the whole day?
Pretty much. We've been, well, I mean, but it was good to see you, though, right?
Oh, my God. This day has been great.
It's been fantastic to see you. It's been all the people that I like to listen to and meet at the conferences.
Because I was on the podium?
I listened to Michelle.
Oh, Andrew.
And I'm just sad that you only had 1 hour to speak.
You're a liar and a thief.
I am a liar. We have Mike here, too. He's our silent partner.
He's the producer of this podcast right now.
He's managing crap right now.
And then...
So, welcome, Mike. Shout out to Mike.
And our guest.
And our guest today is Ben Hilger. And I listened to him earlier. We talked about Legal Shield.
Listened to him earlier.
Okay, she was there too. It was good though, right? So he is a representative of sorts of Legal Shield. And if you'll just help me explain exactly what you do with Legal Shield and then kind of what it's about.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Andrew. I do appreciate the time, and I am enjoying my time here. First cruise. But a little bit about myself. Yes, my name is Ben Hilger with Legal Shield. I'm an independent associate, a small business specialist. And how I got here, basically, is Elijah Desmond invited me from Smiles at Sea.
Shout out to Elijah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elijah.
He's awesome.
That Elijah.
To come and talk, because he had a legal matter that happened to his dentist business, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But a little bit more about me is how I came here is my prior background is military. I used to jump out of planes for a living.
Nice.
Good times.
Nice.
Yeah, they paid me for it. Had been in a couple hot zones, and then after about 6 years, I was like, hey, you know what? I need to have a change in my life. And I got out. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Went into banking, engineering, some other jobs. Was kind of following the money wherever it went, and what was I getting paid.
Sure.
And then fast forward a couple more years for that. I got a bug in my ear. I married a lady from Hawaii in Tucson, Arizona, and we met. I got fired from, I got let go from my corporate
PC
gig.
Way.
Yeah, nice way to say it. I got let go from my corporate gig, and a little voice in my head said, "Let's go to Hawaii. There's never going to be a good time." And you're right, it is expensive, but
isn't Hawaii always a good time? There's always a good time to go to Hawaii.
It is. I own one pair of pants now, and I have one jacket, and that's it. I don't have Weather Channel
That's
app.
So great.
I'm pretty much spoiled. Yeah. So, but don't move there, please.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Charleston. It's great, but don't move there.
That's right.
Actually, don't come there ever.
Exactly.
Don't visit.
Ever.
It's not really that great.
It's actually a dirty, nasty place. Don't come.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Disgusting.
So there is a quota for Caucasians, so I fulfill it now on
Nice.
Oahu. So
Nice.
we're all good.
No
we don't
one
need
else
any
to go.
more people.
No.
Anyway, so when we got settled in, I didn't have a job. I moved out there. My wife's a nurse, and I wanted to really do something that made me feel as good as I did when I wore the uniform for our country. And so in looking around, everything was salesy jobs, things like that. I can sell sunshine to a Hawaiian. But it didn't make me feel good
Or
pineapples, yeah. But it was resonating with my heart. I was a dad. I was going to have we have a son who was 2 years old by then, but my wife was pregnant with our daughter, and I really wanted something that I could leave a legacy, Though you hear about those things, hey, become your own boss.
Right.
And so I got an insurance license, sold some insurance policies, but everybody when I sat down to had questions about what do I invest, and then they had questions in the legal field. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, can I get a hold of a lawyer? Hey, I felt I was wrong by this. I want to sue somebody, and I didn't have an answer for them. And I watched my mom die without a will, and it was traumatic, and we lost a lot of money. And so a buddy shot a video to me, basically in a text message, and I looked at it, and it was about Legal Shield, and I was like, wait a minute, I need this. So I got the service. It's about $20 a month. Started using it, saved us about $7,000, and then I started sharing with people. Basically sharing hey, listen, you may or may not be interested. If you have a couple minutes, I'll have to run something by you. That was it. And what really got me is I did that 6 times on a Friday. Monday, I went to check my bank account. There was $600. And I didn't follow up with anybody. So I'm not trying to get you people to be associates, but it was a way for me to have an aha moment on, hey, I can be an entrepreneur and work something around my family.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then so through that, I met Elijah, of course, and helped him with his situation that he had. And then he had the bright idea of bringing us on this Smiles at Seas crew where I met you guys.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful. And as with anything, you have to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Before anything happens. And so was it financially a good move for me? Probably not right now. But we've met some wonderful people. We had a great time today at the talk. And I feel that there's going to be seeds that we planted to enable dental hygienists, dentists, and anybody really to not wonder about their rights, to be able to call somebody and, hey, listen, I need to talk to someone, but not worry about getting a bill.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings me to, so Andrew and I sat and listened to your lecture today, and I looked at Andrew and was like, we need to have him on the podcast. And what brought me to that
You've been talking about having someone doing legal stuff for almost a year now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've really followed through with that. But
we're looking for the right person. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I guess so. Because the problem is, as a hygienist, and with our podcast, we're talking to a lot of states. And how do you bring somebody on that can talk about labor laws in each and every state? And that seems to be the question or the frustration that we see on a lot of forums. And what I have experienced personally is, what are my laws? What am I allowed to do, not to do? What is the dentist allowed to request of me as a hygienist? And just to say my experience is that I left my job after 7 years. I quit not knowing on the day I started, day before my 7th year, which means I didn't get that 2 weeks said vacations, 2 weeks vacation and then sick days and holidays and all these things. And if I didn't have a friend in HR that knew South Carolina state laws, I would have been screwed out of a lot of things, because I would have walked away going, well, I just left and I have nothing. I didn't get that. I didn't accumulate. If I could have gotten an argument with my boss tomorrow, I would have gotten these things. But I said, I'm going to give my 2 weeks. And she said, no, you should just leave. So what I learned, though, is that she turned my resignation into a termination, and that I was legally entitled to what I would have accrued during those 2 weeks, which was my vacation time, my sick days, those holidays, everything.
Wow.
If I had not known that, if she had not told me that, I love you, Deanne. I love you. I heart you so much, because she told me that. Shout
out to Deanne.
Yeah, love her, because she helped me formulate a letter with legalese and all that beauty, verbiage in it. And that saved me a lot of money and a lot of stress, because I also didn't realize I was entitled to unemployment, because she turned it into a termination. Yeah. So there was a lot of things that I didn't know. And then what we see on our forums, my doctor says now I have to clock out when I don't have a patient, or I have to take less pay, or all these different things. And they're putting it on these forums going, is this legal? Is this allowed?
Right.
And so that's why I turned to Andrew and I was like, this might be the answer for them.
And so that kind of get back to, what you have to offer, is because what we were hearing in this was, we are going to have representation in each of our individual states.
Right.
Which is the biggest hot topic right now with hygiene. So maybe you could speak a little bit more to that aspect.
Sure. I'd love to. That's a great example that you brought up there about, where do you go for the right answers? Google is a search engine. It's not a legal research engine,
Amen
right?
to that.
I have an iPhone. I
Does
can go on
it give
Google.
you a doctorate as well?
WebMD does.
Yeah.
It's the
right.
Google that does.
We could look up
true.
Andrew
Sorry.
Johnston and get good and bad information, probably. Mostly good, right?
All good.
No, all good.
First 4 pages of Google.
Depends who's writing it.
Right.
Me or you?
Oh.
Depends on if it's Wikipedia. You can edit my page.
Can I edit it?
Right. So
can you actually go on Wikipedia and make an entry about me? Because I don't think I'm on there yet.
No. We can work on that.
All right. Appreciate it.
How much money do you have? Anyway, yeah. So
If I sign up today?
yeah, if you sign,
If you sign up
today,
what is your
What comes
legal
with it?
obligation on Wikipedia?
and how many lawyers can I get to authenticate it?
That's
right?
right. That's exactly right.
That's a niche market. I didn't even think about it.
That's great.
Man. No, so go back to your question. I get that a lot, and that was what I needed. When I saw the video, I know I needed the will, but I didn't know what kind of will, who to get it from. Is this lawyer at, one of the ones that graduated community college in Honolulu, or is he the guy that graduated Stanford or at UH #1, right?
Get
Right.
degrees.
Exactly. And
Jeez,
so,
get degrees.
and so we take all that guesswork out of it. So you can have at the touch of a palm, you have the power of a law firm in the palm of your hand, because we've got about 4 or 5 apps, and I'm holding it up to my speaker. Can't you see, podcast people? Anyway,
If we were a video podcast, that would have been fantastic.
yeah, you probably wouldn't have me on there. You would have
we're
to
never
have
doing
like
that.
just Photoshop my head or something. But anyway, we have about 4 or 5 apps that you would be able to tap the app and be instantly connected to your law firm 24 hours a day. So, but here's the deal. It's kind of like going into a dentist's office or your hospital. When you walk in, you talk to a receptionist, and then they filter out which specialist you need. If you need an orthodontist, just a dental dentist, a cleaning, whatever, right? So it's the same thing with your lawyer. If you got a buddy that's a lawyer, or you're blessed to have somebody at HR, imagine that in that particular need you needed.
Exactly.
But what if you asked her, hey, do you know an IRS lawyer? She's like, bop, 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 bop. That's no idea. My point being is that when you route yourself to our law firms on our phone number, they're gonna filter your call to the specialist in that area of law. Now, there's over 26 areas of law. Now, I'm not a saint, I'm not an angel, but I have dabbled in about 5 of them, and I'm about 4 for 5 losing because I didn't have access.
You're on
The
the
one
quest.
I did,
You're on the
I'm
quest.
fighting the power, baby. I won my first one. So. But that was because I had Legal Shield on my side. And so it's like having a Jedi, like a Yoda on your back without having to go through all the physical activity, right? And so
Yoda?
You would have been able, in your situation, if you were already a Legal Shield member, you would be like, that's right, I have Legal Shield. Hold on. Boop. You tap the app. Hello, welcome to blah, blah, blah in your state. What can we help you with? They would take down some small information, a brief description of your legal situation, and 8 hours or less, an attorney in that area of law is calling you back.
Okay.
So imagine calling a dentist and get a cleaning the same day.
Okay.
Not going to happen.
Because that was my question.
Right.
What is the turnaround time?
Now, I have to say 8 hours or less. Now, I know this from the Honolulu law firm, Brevard & Jones. They're going to call you back that day.
Okay.
And I've tested them. I've called them Friday at 2 p.m. And I had Andrew Lowe or one of the other attorneys call me by 6 p.m. that day.
Okay.
So
Nice,
that day they're
nice.
going to call you. Now, the asterisk is in all of our literature it says they have 8 hours. But all the law firms across the country.
Fair.
That's
I know,
still
right, yeah.
I don't know if we respond
Well, think
to
about
emails
it. If
in
you have
8
a friend
hours.
if you have a friend that's an attorney and you're not paying them, what's their impetus to call you?
Yeah.
I know this from talking to lawyers. The person with the biggest grip, the person that pays the most, gets the
Okay.
most attention.
Okay, so then
Yep.
my next question is there a limit?
Negative. So you pay one time a month, you get unlimited access. It's like going to a buffet and they never kick you out.
All right.
And so based on that advice, would a motivational letter or phone call help your situation? I say motivational because you write a letter to your boss or to the labor board, and it goes in on your Hello Kitty stationery. It's going to go into the trash can. But your law firm writes a letter with their legal heading, and pursuant to our client, you must cease and desist, blah, 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 according to labor law this. They're quoting all that Jedi
In your
knowledge.
face.
I know.
That's
It's
what
like
you're
makes
saying.
me. I'm telling you,
That's
it's
what I
like
just heard.
the empire has no choice but to capitulate to the force.
I like
the
it.
Rebel Alliance, and sorry, but it's like empowering you with
Yeah.
your rights, and so definitely, and so. I basically, how we came about, I'm going to lead that to me, is that think about that, folks. Think about the access we have now. So let's go back 40 years ago. Of course, I would be going gaga goo on the line. But my point is that our founders, Harlan Stonecipher, was in a car accident in Ada, Oklahoma, back in 1968. Now, he had medical insurance for his medical bills.
Can I interrupt for just one second? So earlier in the thing you asked if anyone had ever heard of Ada, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I've never been there or whatever, but it's in all the crosswords.
Well,
just,
yes,
just
it's
throwing
what?
it out, right? ADA
is a great little word.
Perfect. Sorry,
It's
I just
perfect.
wanted to.
Ada?
Yeah.
Ada.
It's in a lot of the
Yeah.
crosswords.
It
know
usually
it's
comes
a
up
dog's
blank,
name,
comma,
Ada.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ada, okay.
Continue on. Sorry, I didn't.
That's good. My mom did expert crosswords, so I know that one too. I knew of the Ada, Oklahoma. I didn't think it existed. I thought it was, like Hobbit Town or something. But it does exist.
There's a state called Oklahoma.
There is a state called Oklahoma.
Just kidding. I love Oklahoma.
Mike just said that Hobbit Town's actually called the Shire.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
this is my, when you talk about Yoda and hobbits, that's Mike's realm all of a sudden.
Wow.
This
Okay,
is Andrew's
Gandalf, calm
brother
down.
that is our producer right now.
Calm down, Gandalf. It'll be okay.
He's like, no, I'm Legolas.
Wow. Yeah, my wife's in love with Legolas. So anyway, but not the actor. Only the blonde, the long hair blonde, the short hair Orlando Bloom. She doesn't like. So I have hope. Anyway, so the history of our company. So Harlan Stonecipher was a school teacher and a part-time insurance salesman. So he had the medical and car insurance like all of us have, right?
So school teachers need a part-time job?
Oh, full-time jobs.
Totally joking.
Even in Hawaii, they do.
Because they're all poor, doing the good for the world. Yeah.
Well, hygienists, too, probably don't get paid as much as a dentist, do you?
No, but not as bad as teachers.
We do pretty good.
Not as bad as teachers.
That's true.
Teachers do good work.
And they have a license, too. My wife's a nurse. She makes pretty good money.
Yeah.
They have a license.
Right.
So what's up with the school system? That's a whole nother podcast.
It is a whole nother. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt
No, that's
you.
okay.
I just found that hilarious.
So Harlan was in his hospital bed, and, lo and behold, someone came knocking with papers. He was sued in civil court, even though he never had a ticket. Like, the officer gave the ticket to the lady who hit him. But because she had money, she had emotional stress.
Oh, of course
and was
she
verklempt.
did.
And she sued him in civil court.
Damn it, her
So the state
emotions
of Oklahoma
matter.
Hey, state of Oklahoma had no
Let's
charges
smack
against
her in
him.
her face.
$7,000 of his own money back in 1968.
Oh my God.
Now that's a lot now, but that's like a car back then. And
he
walked
now.
out.
I'd be really upset if
He
I had to
walked
part
out
with that
and
much
he
money.
had this epiphany, like this aha moment. He's like, well, where is the legal system for all of us? So he looked and did research. The bottom 10% are in the public defender system. You pretend to pay them. They pretend to help you. And the top 10%, the Oprah Winfrey's and Warren Buffett's, that's how much they make an hour anyway, so it's retail for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the corporations. So the 80 to 90% of us, it's getting bigger, the middle class, because we're just getting poorer and poorer. But the people in the middle have no access to their rights. Because think about it. Before you talk to your friend, you probably checked your wallet or your purse before you said, I should call an attorney. And at $300 to $400 an hour, you do make good money, but not
Quite
$300 to
honestly,
$400 an hour.
never crossed my mind.
Right.
Never crossed, because of the finances.
Exactly.
Never crossed my mind.
Exactly. So through Mr. Stonecipher's research, he went over to Europe, and as Mr. Katoa said, it's mandatory to have, prepaid insurance plans. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember a day when all I had to have was liability insurance to drive a car, right? Now you have to have comprehensive, or you get a ticket if you don't even have insurance.
Right.
So think about it. Lawyers are getting cheaper or more expensive? More expensive.
More expensive, yeah.
Right? We're graduating more lawyers than doctors and hygienists and dentists, right? My point being is that there's going to come a time in America where they're going to ask for your Legal Shield card, or they're going to ask for your legal insurance.
All right.
Because
interesting.
But that's the vision we have.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. And so if you have we're not going out to sue people, but we're also not wanting to be victims again.
True
So
story.
that's how the history of the company came about. But can you imagine?
Hello, cruise ship.
Hold up.
By cabin 7333.
We're going to keep that in the podcast. Just
Medical
so you know.
response and Legal Shield, please. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah. So fast forward. Imagine going to a law firm and says, hey, I want to pay you
Right.
a small retainer fee every month, and then my people are going to call you 24/7. I need your cell number, but I need your whole law firm, and I'm only going to pay you this much.
Right.
So it
Okay.
took about 20 years from 1969 up to the mid-'80s before he actually found people to run with. And so since then, we've gone from 2 million to 10 million. No, we're at 4 million right now. Our goal is 14 million in the next 5 years.
Wow.
And we need a lot of help.
Wow.
So this podcast, if you're listening and you're in America or Canada, please call me. So
And Canada. All right.
Canada, yeah. So unfortunately, we don't do American territories yet. So if you're in Puerto Rico, sorry. But
poor
but we're
PR.
working
We
on
have
that.
2 people out of Puerto Rico listening
Two whole
today.
You do?
people?
So, yeah.
Awesome. So that's
I
54
love
countries.
PR.
You're in 54 countries?
54
We're only in
countries.
2, sorry.
So all you other people, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. I feel for
So
you.
sorry.
But help us out, Maybe we can open a country. So, yeah,
That'd be
so
great.
that's how the history came about. But like we're talking about your situation there. So letters, phone calls, document contract review for free. And this is unlimited, guys.
Okay.
All you can eat. Residential home loan for free. Motor vehicle defense. Like if you get a ticket, you can take a picture, as I showed you guys on the app. We have your app. You can actually take a picture of your ticket and it uploads to your
I
attorney.
get those too.
Yeah, and your attorney calls you back right away.
Okay.
IRS audit, we give you the free will, living will, healthcare, power of attorney. So things we don't want to talk about. So here's the questions that paint the need. Have you ever signed a document or contract? Have you ever been overcharged, treated unfairly, received a traffic ticket, been a victim of identity theft, or been in a situation where the advice of an attorney would have helped out the outcome? Now, how I define that, did you have to sign a HIPAA statement or get a notary? That tends to be heavily litigious for that company to guard them. So where's your law firm to make sure you should get into that agreement? And so we just want to protect people to stop becoming victims. They work too darn hard, but it's the $20, $30 you get fleeced at every month that adds up a lot.
Right.
Would it also stop people from getting overworked over little things?
Sure.
Like, oh, yeah, bad day for you, but legally, shut up. Because
But legally shut up.
Different verbiage, but yes.
I think that's
Yeah.
going to be the name of this podcast.
All
But
right.
legally shut up.
legally, shut up.
No, yeah.
Because people get upset and they're like, I'll sue you. And like, well, okay, you're just being obnoxious now.
Right.
Like, if they had legal shield,
Right. Right.
or the person,
People would think twice about.
yeah, maybe they
screwing
would be. They're like, oh,
Well, you have trial time.
maybe
that's
I need to
paid
calm
for
down a little
in case
bit.
there is frivolous lawsuits or something does come up. We do have a trial of defense. So
Okay.
I've been a member 4 years now. So I have 240 hours. We give you 60 hours a year. Every year you keep the membership.
Okay.
So they top you at it at 300. The O.J. Simpson trial was a little over 300 hours. So if you're a little more guilty than O.J., you're probably guilty. But
oh, hell.
but I mean, my
And
point
if you're
being,
a hygienist and you're that guilty, we don't want you to listen to our podcast.
you might not
Yeah.
qualify for that category
Please
anyway.
don't try and
Actually,
find
we
us
want
either.
to cover your podcast. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
It'd be like daytime TV.
So like serial type.
It would be a
thing,
serial
like, but it'd be
case.
us. That's
Breaking down the evidence.
Please contact Michelle Strange. Let her know about that.
So with your particular situation, it's like playing poker. You would be able to get the advice, know what the dealer's holding before you ante up.
Right.
Or if it even makes sense to ante up. So again, it's like having the Jedi brain attached to your head that you don't pay for. I didn't go to law school. I would never try to explain dentistry or even teeth. Like lady today said, I have a problem with my number 9. I was like, well, how's 8 and 10? I don't know what she's talking about. It's a whole different language when it comes to dentistry, right? Do you have an impact screw or something? I'm like,
Right.
what are you doing now? What are we doing? I don't have a screwdriver. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so I didn't speak the lingo. But my point is that imagine I didn't go to law school. I don't know Latin, but my lawyers do.
Right.
And so, you
Right.
know, anything. You call now. In America, we've been numb to the fact of being proactive about calling an attorney because we think we have to be a rapist. We have to, sue somebody, get drinking and driving, divorce, kidnapping the kid, slapping.
That's serious problem.
We have to be a criminal to call an attorney.
Right.
But here, you don't have to be a criminal because it's the little things day to day that are going to add up to take advantage of yourself. And then the last thing we kind of do also with that is that identity theft is a huge problem, an epidemic across the country.
Yes.
So it's easier for me to sit in my mom's basement in Vladivostok, Russia, sell your social than it is to come to your house, steal your TV, right?
Right.
So it's
Less
happening all the time. You get those calls, hello, my name is Dmitry from the IRS. You must go down to Western Union, wire me
people fall
$200.
for that?
Yes.
Still?
Yes, they do. Or the secret shopper one. Here's a check for $3,000. Send me a $500 check after. It's fictitious.
What?
It is, folks. But it's happening every day. And plus, you don't have a rich uncle in Uganda that left you $15 million.
FYI, people in Uganda are not rich. I was just there. They
Okay,
were not
great.
there.
So there you go. You
They
hear
are
it from
not
Michelle
rich,
first.
folks.
Yeah,
Don't
so
fall for that.
but those happen. So imagine, and of course you hear that a company on there that rhymes with WifeLock. They always claim that they're number 1, but they're actually number 5 in the world, and they've been
Schmeisswalk.
yeah.
Schmeisswalk.
Yeah, I say some other words sometimes too, but anyway, they've been sued 4 times by our own government
Okay.
for false advertising from the SEC, and also their CEO just sold 5,000 shares of stock, so not a good sign.
No.
And they had a whistleblower say we're not even monitoring 20% of our accounts. Of
How
course,
do
was
people
fired.
find that stuff out
What?
before they do things like,
They watch the TV and it must be true, so let me sign up.
well, of course.
Well, the TV never lies, right?
The internets never lie. Do they?
The only thing that's the truth is this podcast. That's it.
You know what?
Damn
I like
right.
you.
Yeah.
That's some
Damn
great promotional
right.
material that
Telling you.
you're going to steal out of this.
So if a consumer is going to look for something like Schmeisswalk, how?
Where are you going with this, Michelle?
I'm just curious. Like, how
How do you filter
you
out that crap?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know what's
filter
good and
out
what's
that
not
crap
good?
to find Legal Shield?
Great question. Good luck. No,
Just listen to our podcast, and then that's it.
Yeah,
we tell
I
you
mean,
the truth.
but
Right.
outside of that, like, so somebody they're like, this is something I need in my head. They understand the concept. They don't know where to go.
correct.
Google ad number 1 is LifeLock.
Yeah, but that's
Schmeich
Google
schmuck.
ad again
Schmeich
because
schmuck
LifeLock
schmuck.
paid to be there, so they can.
Right.
Great identity theft companies. I don't know, but Kroll, Kroll, not the movie Kroll, right? Awesome movie though. But anyway, Kroll is the number 1 risk management company in the world.
Okay.
But it used to be only Fortune 500 companies could market to them. Our own government uses them.
Okay.
If you've been in the military, you've been background checked, fingerprinted by Kroll. They're actually currently right now, we're hired to strangle the financial net of ISIS. So
awesome.
who would you want to be with? The people that have been sued 4 times or the people that are going after international terrorism? International terrorism, please. Ding, ding.
Hands down.
Yeah, and so we do the only ones that monitor all 6 pillars of identity theft, too. It's not just your credit rating, because I was a banker, so the banks only care about your credit rating because it affects them, but your social, your date of birth, your address, your phone number, your email address. What do I need to create a credit card? I don't need your credit card. And then people say, well, I don't have any money. Great, identity thieves don't steal your past, they steal your future. Because now every single day you've got to answer for that. So if your medical information was stolen, here's another horrible story. So we had a lady on a team call about 2 weeks ago from Atlanta. She's like, yeah, I have a story about identity theft. My now ex-husband, I'm like, what happened here? Took his mistress to the hospital to get an abortion.
Oh.
How did she find out? She got a bill for the abortion in the mail.
Shut your
no.
mouth.
No, but guess what? Change blood type. Change allergies. We got enough problems with proper prescription drugs.
Right.
Right.
So
That's
imagine-
an excellent point.
Right. And, there's no LifeLock alert for that.
Right.
Same with address changes and everything else. So for hygienists and everybody else, the protection for the identity is huge for everybody. I was in the military. I've gotten 2 love letters from the Army saying, sorry, Sergeant Hilger, your whole military career was stolen. Well, they don't track us by a credit card. It's our social date of birth.
Right.
If anybody on this line has ever filled out an I-9 for your job, you've given your information out too. So cyberly, Andrew, Michelle, everybody's out there flying around.
Right.
Legolas over here.
Legolas, Gandalf is over there. I mean, we're all flying around. So it's going to happen. It's not if. It's when, and who are you partnered with to restore it as if it never happened.
Okay.
And so that's where we're the leaders in that industry.
That's an excellent point.
Do you feel comfortable talking about approximate prices on the podcast?
Yes. I can give you ranges on this line.
Ranges, yep.
And it's for people in America or Canada. So if you're in Bangladesh, I'm sorry.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So we can customize a plan based on if you want just the legal plan or identity or both. And you want a bundle because over 70% of identity issues become legal situations, right?
Sure.
So anywhere from about $17.95 month to month to, if you're a business owner even, we protect businesses. We didn't talk a lot about that, like the person who owns the dentist office, up to about $100 a month. So, get with me or whenever you put out some information on the call or if I'm allowed to. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
you can go to www.benhilger.net or 808-421-7672. That's my number. But we can customize a plan. On my website, you can drop in your state, and it'll tell you exactly the plans we offer. Because some states offer some things and some don't offer all of them. But most of them come around that price point. But, guys, let's be honest here. For less than $1 a day, if you had a problem with your cell phone bill, will your medical insurance company call your cell phone? No. Right? If you had a problem with your cable bill or your power bill, will your dentist's office or your car loan call them? No. You can put Legal Shield in the middle and regulate all your monthly bills.
So let's just take a moment on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Podcast knows how much I despise and loathe Comcast cable.
Don't get me started on cable companies.
Don't
need
get
a
her
moment.
started.
I
I
need a
think that you
moment.
two could be in a room and scream.
I literally own a shirt that says I hate Comcast. I wear it proudly, often, and I get more compliments than all of the world. But my problem...
And she hashtags Death to Comcast all the
Yes.
time.
I live on an island with only one flamin' vendor. Good luck with that one.
Monopolies. They're the
Some of 'em are
bastards of
bitches.
them all.
Anyway.
So, they screwed up my account and sent me to debt collections. Instead of me spending the umpteen hours that I spent on the phone to correct that, would that have
Listening
been...
to Lionel Richie? On hold.
Right.
And then they say,
elevator music.
yes, I will fix this for you. Thank you. Click. Another bill collection call. Here we are again. Would that have been an option for me?
Oh, heck yeah. You could politely ask,
I would have
what's the
paid
name
you $1
and number of
million.
your legal
I would have
department?
paid you my first child
Check
if that
this
ever
out.
happened.
So last Monday, I called the law firm on Amazon.
Ooh.
We ordered a bike on September 4th for my daughter's birthday, which was on the 15th. We're
All
like,
right.
okay, it'll get here in 11 days.
Sure.
I don't care if it's coming from Russia. Come on. 11 days shipping. It was in stock. Everything was fine. 7 days later, my wife gets an email. Hey, I'm sorry, the warehouse didn't have it. All right. We'll get it there by the 16th. So we bumped her birthday party to Sunday, the 18th or whatever it was, before I left. So, of course, we're looking. It's not even shipping. So I call up on her birthday, the 14th. I'm like, hey, listen, what's going on? I get Sanjay, wherever he's at in the world. It will be there by Friday, I guarantee. Okay, great, buddy. Awesome. Friday comes and goes. It still hasn't left. So I call. I'm not going to call my daughter's birthday because I'm already pissed. I call Saturday. I can give you a $35 credit. I'm like, the bike's $90.
Yeah.
I want a full credit. Well, you can talk to my manager. Great. Put Ayla on the line. So she starts talking to me. Oh, I can give you a $50 credit. I was like, you don't understand. I've been waiting over 2 weeks. I bumped a birthday party, and you guys have missed twice the dates for delivery. I want full refund. We can't do that. Great. Give me your legal department's information. I want my law firm to contact you. She went, I said, honey, you don't understand. So Monday comes along. I call the law firm. Give us the information, the order number and everything. Give us all the stuff. Now, I've been on the boat, so I can't follow up, but I guarantee you there's a letter waiting to be thumbed up for okay, like that looks good, and sent to Amazon. So about a month from now, if I can do a follow-up or just give you a heads up, I will show you the check for $87.95 that's going to come back to us. Nice. But she was like, yeah, right. You're not going to be able to call a law firm. You don't have access. And that's what all these vendors are banking on. Because think about it. You pay your monthly bill to Comcast. How do you think Comcast funds the legal department? You pay for the legal department that turnarounds and Fs you every month. So who's standing up for you?
Fueling my fire.
Well, so everything you pay monthly
Hate Comcast.
is more than $20 a month. You're funding other companies' law firms that use them against you. Wow, she just coughed up wine out of her nose, folks. And no, not a drop fell. It went straight in her mouth. God bless America.
She loves that wine. She won't waste a drop.
I've never seen anybody.
I love my wine.
I've never seen anybody snort wine, but this is a first, folks. Wow, let's see.
You're gonna have your own podcast if you keep this up. Knock it off.
This is awesome.
Quit being so good, man.
I don't have anything for that right there.
If I die, you need some co-host.
That's one way to get drunk quicker. Snorting my alcohol.
Is no more. What's the butt chugging? That's gone. What did we learn today about all the sexual things?
No.
Take us home, Andrew, please. Help us out.
Let's not talk about this. And what definitely was not that, and I don't think we need to talk about what it really was. It was very not goodly.
Come find me if you want to know what. That's what all the kids are doing.
Okay. Do I need to take your microphone away from you? Okay, knock it off. So this is why it's so hard to do a podcast sometimes.
I don't understand the problem.
Okay. So bringing it back to the reason why he's here, not butt chugging. Let's talk about, we have 10 minutes left. So a couple more things I want to talk about. You actually pointed out some really interesting reasons to, here's a little list right here. 101 reasons to use Legal Shield.
If you needed
Can you read a couple off of those? Some of the funny ones?
Some of the funny ones are number 40. And this can happen sometimes, I guess. Your livestock trample a neighbor's garden.
That's
Ada, Oklahoma.
Gandalf is pointing at himself. All right.
Wait, hold on.
A winner chicken dinner.
Is the goat going to kill you?
His goats and his pigs are going to start.
Livestock. And they're right next to the raspberry bushes of my neighbors.
Man.
So you could trample them.
Are goats allergic to raspberries?
I never thought I would find somebody,
would
but
eat
that is done.
Goats
we
aren't
have
allergic to
it.
anything, are they?
Face?
They would eat what?
I thought this is what we're talking about. They kill you.
What does? Animals
No,
kill?
the goats would eat all my neighbors' gardens.
Hey, we're talking about gardens and trampling gardens.
Sorry,
So
guys.
you want to corral those puppies because you're probably legally responsible for that garden. I like that
Legal
one.
Shield.
Yeah, definitely. Number 101 has always been one of my favorites, especially if you're a guy reading it. Your spouse uses physical force against you.
Allison, my wife, little 115-pound, 5'2".
She'll kumite you in a
Dude,
moment's
she
notice?
beats me mercilessly.
Man.
It's the
But
worst.
can we all agree that he deserves it?
Yes.
Gandalf. Shh.
Thank you.
Okay, then 101 is good. Leasing an
that's
apartment, you receive a letter from a creditor and it's not your debt. You take a vacation and your room is the view of a trash dumpster.
Nice.
That's a nice one.
What's your view like?
Well, right now it's
life-
beautiful because I upgraded.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude,
But
she's got money.
I was just in San Fran where I almost touched a wall next to me. like
That was kinda
outside
in-
the window.
Was
I
that
opened the window.
Was that in Godfather 1 or 2?
Touched the window.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I thought I was going to die in that place, just so y'all know. I'm glad you're making fun of me. I was
We're not making fun of you.
scared. Continue on.
Drink more wine. Let's see.
I got half a
A
bottle.
repairman charges more than an estimate. Wow, does that ever happen? All
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your neighbor or school reports you for child abuse. I have not a funny story. So this gentleman waited a month and a half to get the membership. He's telling his testimonial. He always put the guy off. And he got it just to, hey, get out of my hair. I'll try it out. So a week later, his kid falls off the trampoline. They go down the emergency room. They're not treating his kid. They're huddled around him. They're looking back at his wife and him. Then they're huddled around him. He's like, what's going on? Nurse comes. Hey, we're just trying to wait for CPS to see if it's a case of child abuse. He's like, he fell off a trampoline. And she looks, hey, honey, calm down. They're already accusing you of child abuse.
Yeah.
So he walks down the hallway because he's pissed. He remembers he has this legal thing. Pulls out the card, 24/7, right? Calls the 24/7 line and the lawyer's like, listen, go calm down, be with your wife. Everything's cool. Give me a minute. So 10 minutes later, a suit walks down from the office. We're sorry, sir, that it got all twisted. We're going to treat your child right now. We heard from your law firm.
Oh, my gosh.
He's thinking, what if I told that dude another week? Where would they have taken my child that night?
Yeah.
Truly.
Where would they have taken me? Where would my wife been that night?
Yeah.
So I get a little goosebumps thinking about it. But, folks, let's be honest. This service is when bad things happen to good people. So the 101 Reasons is another thing we can maybe put up on the podcast or whatever. I have a link for it. But it's just great to kind of give you a snapshot of things that we don't think about in everyday life that could be legal situations until they're too late. You know, whether how you feel about alternative living, the people walked into the club in Orlando to have a good time. 50 of them didn't walk out. So here's my point. You know, we don't know when society is going to happen to us, but you want to be prepared for it. And that's just what we do, but we don't charge you an arm and a leg for it. So, yeah, we can definitely help customize a plan to fit those.
And I think it's really great. I think what made me think, like, I need to think about this was, what are my rights in my state as an employee? And set me straight. And then all the other stuff was like, well, duh. Well, that of course would. But the things that I'm like, every single day I go into work and something happens and I'm like, it makes me think, like, do I just put up with this?
Right.
Or should I be talking to somebody about this and asking about my rights? Or, and asking about my rights, but is it in a moment where I should just shut up? Like, yeah, I legally should be doing this because I'm an employee of this company and they have that right. So let me just get over it.
Yeah.
Or, no, I need to stand up for myself and tell them that they are not legally allowed to do that.
And until more Americans do that.
Important.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Because, I mean, you know, until more Americans fight for their rights, you know, I hate what's going on in society right now. You know, I was growing up in Europe, so I didn't care what color you were. I didn't care where you were from. You spoke English. You were my buddy. So I got over the racism real quick. Now, I love police. I'd rather have them on my side. Do I agree with everything that goes on? No, but there's always bad apples. My point being is that if someone can say, hey, listen, I'm going to call my lawyer right now before the officer even walks up and gets their lawyer on the line, gets their law firm, gets their rights accessed. What good is having rights if you don't have access to them? Now, I served in the military, but we're going to other countries touting about our rights and how great freedom we have. And I had to come back. One of the first times I used my membership was against the VA, the Veterans Administration, for my back, for my disability claim. And it was pretty pathetic that you can serve our country and have to fight to get the representation you need. So
disgusting.
I'm hoping we can just, you know, every week or every day with one other person, light a candle in them to see the light of having access, because a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And so a candle was lit in me, just become a fire and a passion to share this with as many people as possible. And I want to thank you both for the opportunity to be on this podcast and share with your guys, because who knows, maybe someone will be moved to get protected and access their rights because of this.
And we would hope that, you know, people get in contact with you, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, listeners, it's important to be protected. We don't say this to scare you, but like you said before, you know, bad things happen to good people, and we want you guys as our listeners, so we love you so much, to have options and to have a legitimate option out there that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. But tell us one more time your contact information just so they can write it down.
So if you're writing down www.ben, BenHilger, so benhilger.net, like fishnet. And then my number is 808-421-7672. I do live in Hawaii, but I can market this plan across the country in Canada. So If you get a voicemail, it's because it's probably morning where you are and dark where I am. But I will get back to you within 24 hours. But go there, kick the tires on this. I mean, we've got 5.8 done rating on our attorneys. Our law firms have been vetted, and plus the feedback from Consumer Reports and other valuable or reputable companies give us a 5-star rating. And just like anything, Go ahead.
And no, as a hygienist, when I can say that I have looked for people that would defend us as employees or tell me what my labor laws were so that we could have them on the podcast, because like Andrew said at the very beginning, we were looking. Everyone represented the employer.
Yeah. Because the employer has more money.
I talked to multiple people, and they said, sorry, we represent the employer.
Yeah.
So I think this is an excellent option. This is why we jumped at this opportunity, because there's been so many questions and so many forums, and I think that this is important for us as professionals, but then also in our personal lives as well.
Yeah. Less than 8 hours we've known this guy. That's how fast we got him on the podcast.
Because we're awesome.
It's that important.
Yeah, and to tell you guys, they're not just talking the talk. They've actually got the apps out here in front. They will be getting the protection too, so I'm sure you'll be hearing some testimonials about using this service.
I don't have a will, so I'm going to
Well, yeah, I mean, the sad fact is 9 out of 10 minorities, 7 out of 10 Americans don't, yet 10 out of 10 of us are not getting out of this game alive. So eventually, unless you cryo your head, I guess, that might.
Is that an option?
We're not advocating that.
Okay, anyway. But yeah, that's the truth here. So I know we're winding down, but I could talk all night. I've got so many stories.
Could we?
Yeah. Hey, maybe next year, Smiles and see if you come again.
I'm pretty sure we're like 99% in.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, we do.
All right, aloha.
Really.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thank you.